In the waning days of August, when the air hung heavy with a peculiar oppressive heat, Professor Charles Horatio Bellamy received an unexpected missive from an old acquaintance, Professor Fraser Scavera. The letter, penned in a tremulous hand that betrayed its writer's advanced age of 99 years, bore an aura of both urgency and enigma. Scavera, a name whispered with both reverence and dread in academic circles, had secured permission to delve into the secrets of a mysterious island, a place shrouded in whispered legends and fearful speculation. The letter implored Charles to join him, citing the need for his expertise and companionship in the daunting expedition. Compelled by both professional curiosity and a lingering sense of obligation to his old mentor, Charles agreed. Arrangements were hastily made, and soon he found himself standing on the weathered docks of a decrepit harbor. There, he was greeted by the sight of a battered vessel, the Salty Bitch, owned by Captain Harold, a grizzled seafarer and close confidant. Captain Harold, his visage marked by countless encounters with the merciless sea, welcomed Charles with a grave nod, acknowledging the somber nature of their journey. The sea voyage began under a pall of foreboding clouds. The ocean, as if mirroring their purpose, churned with a restless vigor. The Salty Bitch, sturdy though it was, groaned against the relentless onslaught of the waves. Hours stretched into an eternity as the tempestuous sea toyed with the small craft, tossing it about like a mere plaything. The darkness grew deeper, and an unsettling stillness settled over the waters, broken only by the mournful cries of unseen creatures. After what seemed an endless battle, the island loomed into view, a jagged silhouette against the bruised sky. Relief was fleeting as their arrival was marred by catastrophe. As the Salty Bitch neared the rickety pier, a monstrous wave, unnatural in its singular ferocity, surged forward. With a shuddering crash, the boat was impaled upon the dock, its wooden spine snapping like a fragile twig. Captain Harold, his face a mask of bewildered rage, pointed an accusatory finger at the capricious sea, declaring that the wave bore the mark of some unearthly force. The island, now their prison, loomed ominously, its secrets beckoning with a silent, sinister call. Charles, Scavera, and Harold stood amidst the wreckage, the weight of unseen eyes pressing upon them. As they ventured forth, the island's dark embrace promised revelations that would test the boundaries of sanity and the very fabric of reality itself. The island, with its jagged cliffs and foreboding woods, seemed to close in around Professor Charles Horatio Bellamy and his companions as they left the ruined remains of the Salty Bitch behind. Their arrival was met by a figure who seemed to have stepped straight out of some ancient mariner's tale, Alan, the harbor master. His appearance was a testament to years of neglect and hard living. A filthy beard covered much of his face, and his feet, devoid of shoes, were thickly calloused and stained with the earth of the island. Alan's initial words were cryptic and unsettling. He spoke in a manner that suggested familiarity with Fraser, hinting that the professor had brought 5 individuals to the island before. The implications of this statement sent a shiver down Charles's spine, but there was little time to ponder its meaning as Alan led them to his home, which would serve as their lodging during their stay. The house was a ramshackle structure, its walls leaning with the weight of years and its windows clouded with grime. Upon entering, Alan requested that they remove their shoes, a demand that sat poorly with Captain Harold, whose gruff demeanor barely concealed his mounting frustration. Nevertheless, they complied, though Harold muttered darkly under his breath. Inside, the atmosphere was thick with an unnameable tension. Alan offered them refreshments, strange tea for Charles, and a peculiar alcoholic concoction for Harold. The beverages carried unfamiliar flavors, hinting at ingredients and processes far removed from the mainland's civilized norms. As they sipped, conversation turned to darker matters. Alan, speaking in a reverent yet insincere tone, revealed the fate of his wife, who had met a grisly end beneath the slicing blade of a boat's rudder. The horror of her decapitation seemed almost too grotesque to be true, yet the harbor master recounted the tale with a disconcerting calmness. Throughout, his speech was laced with religious undertones that struck Charles as hollow and forced, a performance rather than genuine piety. When later Charles expressed his unease to Fraser, the older professor acknowledged that the island's inhabitants followed pagan practices, venerating the land itself in ways that were alien to outsiders. This revelation did little to ease Charles's mind. There was a palpable sense of menace in the air, as if the very soil of the island thrummed with a dark, ancient energy. Curiosity mingled with dread as Charles pressed Fraser about the true purpose of their expedition. Fraser spoke of a long-extinct species of large cat, a creature of mythic proportions that he hoped to find evidence of. But there was more. Rumors of the island's power, tales of individuals who had stood in fields and been struck by lightning, only to emerge transformed, possessing inexplicable abilities. As night fell, the island seemed to pulse with a life of its own. Shadows stretched and twisted in unnatural ways, and the wind carried whispers that were almost, but not quite, human. Charles lay awake, the taste of the strange tea lingering on his tongue, his mind teetering on the edge of a realization too terrible to fully grasp. This island, with its pagan rites and whispered secrets, held mysteries that defied the boundaries of rational thought and promised a descent into madness for those who dared to uncover them. The night was thick, with an unsettling quiet, broken only by the occasional creak of the old house settling into the earth. Professor Charles Horatio Bellamy lay in a fitful sleep, haunted by visions of the island's mysteries, when a sharp sound jolted him awake. A clatter, like stones striking glass, echoed from the window. Groggy and wary, he rose and peered outside, only to find the night empty, save for an apple lying innocently on the grass below. Summoning Captain Harold, the two men ventured out into the moonlit yard. The apple, upon closer inspection, bore a chilling message carved into its skin. "You are not the first. Search house." The implication was clear. There were secrets yet to be uncovered within the walls of their temporary refuge. Determined to avoid waking the others, Horatio and Harold moved with quiet precision, searching the house by the dim light of their lantern. Their investigation led them to the bathroom, where a glint of metal caught Horatio's eye, a delicate earring, incongruous and out of place in the grimy setting. Further searching yielded a crumpled letter wedged behind the sofa cushions, its contents revealing a tale of dread. The anonymous writer spoke of witnessing something horrifying in the woods, and warned that if any harm befell him, the harbor master or the lighthouse keeper would likely be responsible. A sense of foreboding settled over them as they continued their search. In the parlor, they found a framed photograph of the harbor master's late wife. The woman in the picture wore no earrings, her ears unpierced. The earring they had found could not have been hers. The implications were dire. Someone else had been here, someone who had vanished without a trace. Harold and Horatio, their resolve steeled by these discoveries, decided to use the apple to communicate with their mysterious informant. Carefully, they carved a reply requesting a meeting on the following night. Their message sent, they returned to their rooms, the weight of their findings pressing heavily upon them. As Horatio lay back down, the house seemed to close in around him, its shadows stretching and contorting in the flickering lamplight. Sleep did not come easily, and when it did, it was filled with fractured dreams of ancient rites and eldritch horrors lurking just beyond the edge of consciousness. The island held its secrets close, but as the night wore on, Horatio knew they were drawing ever closer to truths that would test the limits of their sanity and courage.